This week on Two Noobs, room temperature superconductor, fact or fiction. Plus, John's boy Elon is doing everything in his power to get X, to explode like one of his rockets. Creepy new tech tells you how old you are. And finally, how would you like this in your pool? Oh, somebody burnt me. Start the music. Ugh. I am such a slob, and this is episode 148 of Two Noobs. Stop laughing. It's 148 of Two Noobs Talking.
I'm trying not to.
Am I here for your amusement?
Yes.
Yeah. So you signed on for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Johnny, you're back. I can't believe it. Johnny's back. Woo!
John. He brought Elon with him. How
That's
about
right.
that? Yes, over there on that side of the screen is jumping jacked John Tracy.
There you go.
Jacked today. Yeah, all right. It's good.
Yeah.
Over there on that side, that is Mimosa Matt Craig. I don't know.
Hey.
First
Who
M
would like a
word.
mimosa? That's
Little
awesome.
vodka orange juice in the middle of the day.
Is
Everybody
that what
likes
that is?
Yes.
And then me here in the middle, I am the irascible Illinois Smith, your 2024 Sensible Party candidate for President of the United States.
There you go. Dun, 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 dun. There you go.
All right, gentlemen, how are we today? John, traffic problems, eh?
Yeah, Austin sucks. But for everybody's amusement, this will be my last Texas episode for a while. I will be relocated to a secure bunker in Tennessee, so look for the beautiful curtains. Coming up soon, because that's the only thing in those hotels that maybe there'll be a good painting that I might be able to prop up to, but we'll see.
Oh, there
We'll
you
see.
go.
Not bringing any props, so it's just gonna be bland hotel for the next couple weeks.
John is not a podcaster, but he did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last
Yes,
night.
it's,
So
literally,
right.
I just checked in the one actually.
Nice.
Look at that.
Nice. Matt, does your plea agreement allow for future prosecution of the defamatory statements that you sling here on Two Noobs Talking?
I have no comment. I plead the Fifth Amendment on that.
Fair enough.
As his
Fair enough.
advisor, no, it does not.
Well, we gotta get this worked out here. You know, we gotta know what this plea agreement is all about, Matt.
That's true.
I mean, Matt hired me, who does not have a law degree, similar to other people that we know.
So
we're not gonna do good job in filing things properly.
So, Mr. Tracy, did I just hear you admit that you are practicing law without a license in the state of
Apparently,
Pennsylvania?
yes.
Is that all right then? Book him.
That's amazing
Well,
that
we
he's
do-
doing that.
we do
considering he's
every-
living in Texas.
Yes, we do everything in weird islands that we don't know the names of, so it all gets filed through that stuff. We don't do it in the actual states.
That
'cause
might
you
be
get
the
in trou-
58th state.
Yeah,
that
you
we
get in
do.
trouble for that kind of stuff. But when you
Gotcha.
find an island that doesn't have a name, go for it.
All right, well, Matt, how are things going other than your plea deal?
Doing great. Saw a great movie, The Essential Church. Great movie, documentary done by Grace Community Church. It was terrific. Just a recap of what they went through. That entire church went through in the pandemic, but tied in church history, which was amazing to see all the way back to the 1630s in Scotland. It's a terrific movie, and it's amazing how it was presented in terms of what was going on back then to now, and it's nothing new, that kind of a deal. But outside of that, ran through a great thunderstorm last night. That was a lot of fun. That wasn't planned, especially coming out of the theater. It's amazing, like when you're done watching it and it's like 9:30, you're like, oh, I got an easy ride going home. It was pouring rain over there, and it lasted all the way straight through. It was like, what the heck? I thought this was supposed to come until today, Saturday of this recording. Didn't even have it. Happened last night. It's like, wow, okay, it's crazy. But I made it through, and I'm all safe. All good.
Well, that's a shame. Speaking of a shame.
I'm not voting for Illinois.
In all fairness, I was not aware of a thunderstorm either until we got out of the rink for my son's practice. And fortunately, it was not raining yet by the time we got to our car, so we stayed dry through the whole thing.
There you go.
Speaking of dry, I don't even know what that has to do with anything, but W Energy Drinks is the sponsor of our fun fact and over 40 rant. Visit w.gg. It's dubby.gg. Enter the promo code 2 Noobs Talking, TOONOOBS Talking. Get 10% off of any energy drink order that you may make. Don't make a liar out of me. All right, John, you are back with your fun fact. Let's have it, because I don't know if you heard mine last week.
I
but
did.
It was mind-blowing. So you have to.
I did. I absolutely enjoyed your fun fact last week. By the way, it was awesome. I don't know if this one's gonna be good, but in my little fun fact generator I got over here, it stopped on this one and it told me it would be good, and it just turned off. So now I got to turn it back up. In 1987, American Airlines, my not favorite airline to fly in the United States, saved $40,000 annually by removing one olive from their first class salad.
There you go.
That pretty much explains the food on American Airlines now and forever.
Okie dokie then. It puts me in mind of that meme where you see like an advertisement in the 50s of a couple eating like a first-rate dinner on an airplane. They've got like a whole roasted chicken on the platter. It's like, can you imagine what this is going to be like 60 years later? And 60 years later, we got a bag of peanuts thrown at us.
Yes.
And half a can of soda.
Or something that looks like a Hungry Man, but is not on the same level.
Not really, not even close.
Not on the same level.
Oh, God.
It's no wonder when your plane crashes, you have to resort to cannibalism because there's nothing to eat on the plane.
Exactly.
That's for damn sure.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, on that note, Matt.
On that note.
Your over 40 rant. Cannibalism, go.
So I got a little bit of a surprise this week. All of a sudden, I got a pop-up from Apple TV telling me, hey, just FYI, your subscription price for the year has gone up. Okay, take a look into it. $70. I had previously paid $50. Doing the math, that's a 40% price increase.
Sounds like Apple
television.
Yeah, seems like this.
That was probably the easiest cancellation I've ever done in my life. But to go from $50 to $70, I mean, I guess their program is somewhat good, but it's like, no. That was an easy cancellation. But
Matt, you're gonna miss the Phillies game that gets ripped off of regular TV and thrown on Apple once a year. Don't you want to see it?
Keep going, Johnny.
Special.
That's why they had to up the price, because they had to pay for the Phillies game. So
the one and only
$20 was exactly
the one and only
40%. Yeah, that's a hard pass on that. That kind of a deal. So yeah, that's my over 40. It's like the unplanned price increases with no communication whatsoever previously.
That is quite a steep hike.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's a streaming service basically, and it's like a 40% increase. That's ridiculous. So,
well, I mean, they're in line with Netflix, who just got rid of their lowest, I believe it was their lowest subscription level, and is forcing everyone who was on there to upgrade to the next level.
YouTube TV, same deal.
It sounds to me like they're planning on figuring out how to settle the acting and writing guild strike, because as we discussed last week, one of the big issues is how to pay people off of streaming. You got to have money.
Someone's got to get those royalty checks sooner
but
or
isn't
later.
this
the hard work they're doing? Yeah.
Isn't it putting them in the same boat as what the cable companies were doing, and why everybody cut the cord and got rid of cable, and now the streaming services are just doing the same thing?
Oh, Johnny, I don't know about that.
I'm not interested in any of this shit anymore. I have Peacock because I like wrestling. Like, and if wrestling goes away from Peacock, Peacock's dead to me. Like, there's not much. I've ran through all the DC and Netflix, so they're dead to me. I really got not a lot.
I still have cable. I still have cable because I did the math to get the internet to support streaming services and then get all the streaming services I would need to support the viewing I want to do. It's the same price. So what's the difference? Why not just have it all come through one box? Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. I'm glad we all got that off our chests.
There you go.
Yeah, feel good. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Speaking of chests, topic 4. Oh, wait, not there yet.
Nice segue, but we got 3 more to get through.
That's called a tease, ladies and gentlemen.
Ow.
That ended.
Where was the
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought a symbol was coming. Damn. All right. Well, I guess we'll just go on to topic 1 then. If you're just gonna be that way.
I guess.
Quantum Insider article. Good luck finding that logo, gentlemen, for post-production.
I got it.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Researchers claim they developed a room temperature superconductor. While it has yet to be peer-reviewed and likely faces a great deal of scrutiny, a team of scientists are reporting on the preprint server ARXIV, I don't even know how to pronounce that they have achieved room temperature superconductor using a modified lead apatite LK99 structure. According to the paper, operating at ambient pressure, LK99 exhibits superconductivity with a critical temperature greater than or equal to 400 K or 127 degrees Celsius or 260 Fahrenheit for us normal people. Heat capacity measurements provided supporting evidence for the proposed model, reinforcing LK99's ability to maintain its superconducting state at room temperatures and ambient pressures, the researchers report. Why is that important? Well, room temperature superconductivity is important because it has the potential to revolutionize multiple aspects of science and technology. One of the most significant advantages is the unprecedented energy efficiency they offer. Traditional superconductors require extremely low temperatures to function, making their practical applications limited and energy intensive. However, with room temperature superconductors, power transmission and distribution systems experience minimal energy losses due to virtually zero electrical resistance. Additionally, the advent of room temperature superconductivity could pave the way for groundbreaking advancements in transportation, such as high-speed trains that can travel without using much energy. Moreover, superconducting materials could be utilized in energy storage devices, enabling highly efficient and compact solutions for grid-scale storage and portable electronics. John, any of that make sense to you?
Portable electronics.
So for our listeners out there, superconductivity, if you've ever touched something through which an electrical current is running through, it probably felt hot. And that's because when you were running electricity, there is resistance in that wire, and you lose energy as it runs through the wire because of the resistance, and that goes off as waste as heat. Superconductors do not have resistance, and so the energy can flow without having that problem. That's a big thing for like power systems where you're running electrical power from the power stations to homes, etc. Because you got miles of cable and you got resistance, so you're losing energy everywhere. Does it make more sense now?
Yes.
Okay. This just puts me in mind. We did an article months ago where some scientists were doing something really weird with money. And you asked the question, why aren't they researching more helpful things?
More helpful
I think this is one of them. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, John, you work in the energy sector. How important is kind of energy efficiency?
Extremely important. If not just the energy efficient of gas pumps or charging stations or just the people who fix that stuff, it needs to be energy efficient, because if we can keep the cost down, that means the consumer is not going to pay $97 to charge the Tesla anymore, because we're doing it more efficiently. And especially in that sector, we are not doing things efficiently. We have a long way to go to get to super efficiency, which would save the customer money. As you noticed, gas prices are, again, that will probably remain until it gets cold, and then, but not like it used to. Thanks, Biden.
I don't know, Johnny. I kind of like paying $5 a gallon.
No, that is
I'm
dumb.
not paying that much. What gas station you going to?
That is dumb. That is
that's
dumb.
just dumb. Yeah, it's just dumb.
But no, efficiency. I love the new phones that are more efficient and they don't get hot anymore. Is that what we're talking? That's what we're kind of talking about with more things are going to be. Is that kind of what we're talking about? Like more things.
Well, I mean, that's part of it.
Reliable.
That's part of it.
Yeah, like again, more reliable.
When you're running electricity through conductors, there's resistance inherent in the system, and you're going to generate heat. It's inevitable. And you generate heat inside a phone. Not only does it get uncomfortable to hold, but you also risk damaging further electronics in it. So the ability to have superconducting materials in here to conduct that electricity and not have that waste heat going out is remarkable. Room temperature superconductor is kind of one of the holy grails of science at this point in time. And hopefully these guys have stumbled upon it, but the article does caution that the discovery sounds promising, but it's important to approach the research with caution before it can be widely accepted scientifically. Further rigorous and independent verification is needed. CDC, pay attention. The scientific community must replicate the experiments and results to confirm the reproducibility and reliability of the findings. Additionally, researchers need to conduct extensive studies to understand the fundamental mechanisms behind the superconductivity in LK99, exploring potential limitations and challenges such as the stability and longevity of the superconducting state. And that's critical to assess the material's practical applicability, because you also have to consider scalability and manufacturability. It's great if it works in a lab, but if it's not working out on the street, it's kind of useless.
Yeah.
Useless. I don't know, Matt, what are your impressions here?
Yeah, I mean, promising, obviously. I mean, if it does work, it just came to my mind, Steve, really just thinking about like my own heater and air conditioning unit. You want to talk about generating all kinds of friction electricity, right? I mean, it's certainly humming right now with the temperature being like in the mid 90s, factoring the humidity, of course. But if you have a superconductor that can come in at room temperature and essentially, hopefully, replace the heater and the air conditioner, i.e., both systems, where friction and heat can generate in order for them to work properly. What a massive and important step in the evolution of convenience, really, in that regard, of the machines. And you won't have to deal with running the risk, essentially, of having a fire, things along those lines. Electrical fires are nothing to sneeze at. I mean, they are very, very dangerous and very difficult to put out if you're not careful.
They're quick to happen too. You don't have time to be like, oh, well, that might set on fire. Like it already did set on fire.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember this was years ago. My mom had an electrical fire in the kitchen, and fortunately she was able to unplug everything, and it kind of just petered itself out. This was years ago, of course, and it was just like, okay, well, we can't use that anymore. I had to get an electrician and fix it. But yeah, I mean, it's scary. It's really scary. It's like because I think the first thing is you're panicked and you're not quite sure what to do in that regard. And the next thing you know, holy cow, you've got a big fire in your hands. I can remember even just a couple of buildings up in the condo association, there was a guy that had a washer or a dishwasher, and essentially it caught on fire. And it basically like almost literally destroyed that entire condo.
Wow.
And all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, if this superconductor can be moved into room temperature, wow, what an advancement for science. But I get the sense this is probably a good 20 to 30 years away from hitting the marketplace.
Right.
Peer review,
right? Peer review. This is quite a breakthrough if it's true.
Yeah.
I geek out because when I was in college, the lab I worked in for 2 years was superconductor research.
Nice.
But so room temperature superconductors are great, but they do take kind of the fun out of it, because to get superconductors to work previously, you needed liquid nitrogen. You needed to cool it down liquid nitrogen is like 77 Kelvin, which is something like minus 300 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, you don't touch that with your bare hands.
No, but it's really cool when you spit in liquid nitrogen and it instantly solidifies. It's so we worked with those. Those were called high temperature superconductors, by the way. That had to go in the liquid nitrogen. Lead is actually superconducting if you cool it down to like below 1 Kelvin. Which is just above absolute zero, which is, again, you're talking like minus 400 something Fahrenheit.
Wow.
You had to have liquid helium, which lasted about a day in a sealed container. We had a pump the size of probably this room to get, because helium's like 3 Kelvin. You have to get it down. It took about 24 hours to get the vacuum seal down to below 1 Kelvin. And then, boom, you finally had your lead superconducting state.
Wow.
So that was a lot of fun, sitting around waiting for things to drop. Oh, it's 1.8 Kelvin now. So, right.
30 minutes later.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 1.5 Kelvin.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, room temperature superconductors would be dramatic. And a really cool thing you could use them for is maglev trains, magnetic levitation. Because one of the experiments they show you as an undergraduate in physics is they take a superconductor, it's like a wafer. They pour liquid nitrogen on it to cool it to a superconducting state, and then they put a magnet on top, and the magnet will actually start to levitate.
That's awesome.
Over the superconductor because of different fields and stuff. But they use that concept for like a train, so that you're not generating friction by wheels running on the track. See, so that's what when the article says you could do it moving trains with minimal effort. That's what they mean. I mean, that would be tremendous advantage.
No.
But if this superconductor is 20 to 30 years away, those types of magnetic levitation trains are probably 150 years away, because, we magically fixed a 40-foot stretch of I-95 in a week, but the construction on 95 has been ongoing for about 40 years.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right, how are those new superconducting levitating chairs doing in your respective locations there, John?
It's out of control.
Well,
it's out of control.
Out of Christ compels you.
The power of Christ compels thee.
Get that chair under control. Topic 2. Speaking of getting things under control, John, you got to put a lid on your boy here. Elon.
Oh boy.
Engadget article, Twitter's rebrand to X could worsen its legal and financial problems. Oh my.
No. Really?
Twitter's rebrand to X is well underway. The name and iconic bird logo have been mostly stripped from the company's San Francisco headquarters, and an X has replaced the blue bird atop twitter.com, except on mine, which still shows a blue bird. So whatever. Elon Musk has said the change is about more than just the name. He wants to turn the service, formerly known as Twitter, into an everything app that also encompasses banking and financial services.
Oh, good Lord.
But the rebrand could pose significant legal and financial challenges to the company, which has struggled since advertiser Exodus cut the company's ad revenue by more than 50%. To start, there are hundreds of companies, including Microsoft and Meta, that own trademarks for variations of X. That could open the door to lawsuits and other legal headaches for Musk. Shubha Ghosh, a law professor at Syracuse University, says that lawsuits are quite common when major companies rebrand and change their names and logos. I'm kind of surprised he picked X because it's not that distinctive, he says. It's problematic in the sense that it's not something you can just suddenly do without anybody noticing and possibly suing.
Don't say anything. We're gonna
Yeah.
change our brand to X. Shh.
To X talking. Trademark attorney John Gerben told Reuters that he counted almost 900 other companies with trademarks on X. And Twitter's new X branding could also prove difficult to defend, especially internationally. The chance that Elon Musk will be able to successfully register a trademark for X for all the services he intends to provide in every country he wants to provide them in is very low, Gerben wrote. John. Sorry. My mistake, John. What is Elon doing here? What is he thinking?
What he always does. Because what he's going to do is going to run into legal trouble. He's going to get sued a lot, and he's going to be like, this isn't a good idea. We're just going to rebrand it back to this friggin' bird or whatever it's going to be. He's going to change the color of it, and everybody go, oh, he's such a genius. He doesn't care. He has fuck you money. He doesn't care. He just does not care. It is not on his. These are his people's problems. These aren't his problems. He just doesn't care. 900. It's more than 900 from what I saw a couple of videos that said that there are far more than 900 companies that could turn around and sue him. Like it's. He picked the weirdest. You're the patent lawyer, Steve, but I'm saying he picked kind of the weirdest thing to attempt to patent, if in my opinion, and I'm not even a patent lawyer.
Trademark.
I don't even understand all that. But from what I've been reading, it's just lining up to just punch in the face every day for the next 6 years.
It sounds like it's the Washington Commanders all over again, doesn't it?
I was going to say that's a kind of a similar thing in that when the Redskins changed their name, you had parties that were opportunistic to sort of, take advantage and prevent certain names from being. This is sort of similar, except I'm going to venture guess most of those companies probably have legitimate usage of X in some manner. So it's not just a troll kind of squatting on potential names. I think Elon just kind of picked this out of I guess he does do his company. His SpaceX is him, right?
And SpaceX is him. Yeah.
So I guess he's got a history with X, but just to call it X,
really out of thin air, to be honest with you. I mean, the way he went about it too on the social media platform itself was really bizarre. Oh,
it was.
Well, yeah. Why don't we just call it X? Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I'll run with that.
It's almost
what
like
the hell are you doing?
It's almost like he's trolling people for no reason. And it doesn't matter. Like it literally does not matter to him. That's the vibe I get with him now. Like it's like I don't listen to a word he says because I think he's just fucking with people, and he does not care. Like, whatever. We'll change the name. Maybe we'll change the name like 25 times. That's what I'm thinking of this. Like, there's no way this thing's gonna last. Like, the app's just gonna change every couple of weeks.
Certainly, I think the issue is the selection of X.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's just too simplistic.
Very.
That you're gonna be and God help us, he wants to do banking on a social media platform now. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're going to be stepping all kinds of toes.
Job at that too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he ought to talk to Meta about some of the changes they've done.
Yeah.
You would have thought he would have been rejoicing over the Threads failure, and kind of leave Twitter be, as it were.
He could have totally played off that Threads and called it something else, like in the sewing community, and everybody would have laughed. But no,
Stitches.
Exactly. Like, wouldn't that have been hilarious if he would have did that? He could have did everybody a favor and just dropped Twitter and brought back Vines, and just be like, "Well, just have Vines. Forget about Twitter." Everybody would be like, "Yay!" But no, he didn't do that either. The one thing he could have done, he refuses to do, and now it's called X.
Which is what?
Bring back Vines. He said he was going to bring back Vines, and he never did. Now everybody's pissed.
And he never did.
He never did.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, even if Twitter is able to fend off legal challenges, there are still serious business risks to doing away with a brand as globally recognizable as Twitter's. Bloomberg reported that some analysts have estimated the name change could wipe out billions of dollars in value from a brand that's already been damaged by Musk. Ari Lightman, a professor of digital media marketing at Carnegie Mellon, says Twitter's problems go far beyond potential legal headaches brought on by its rebrand. There's a lot going on that is diminishing the value, the utility, the uniqueness that Twitter, now X, has in the space, he says, pointing to the rise of Threads and other Twitter competitors. Tweets are synonymous with the idea of blogging or microblogging. It's going to be very difficult to re-socialize a concept with the global population. I think that's another issue here is
Big time.
Huge.
he's taking a recognized name and brand and totally junked it out the window.
Yeah.
People, it's been Twitter. We've been tweeting. What the hell are we going to be doing now? Xing, Matt?
Possibly, but yeah, I mean, it's bad. I mean, yeah, you have to know, like, despite the fact that Twitter has been a losing brand, let's face it, like, financially speaking, they were in the pits when Musk even bought them to begin with. They were losing money, hemorrhaging money all over the place. How they stayed in San Francisco in one of the most, I mean, California, guys, and especially San Francisco, is the most heavily taxed area in all of the United States. How they managed to even stay afloat in that building, I have no idea. But that being said, when you rebrand, my God, you got to know what you're doing. You can't go on a social media app and say, you know what, I think X is going to, that sounds right to me. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's run with it. I think that's a great idea. And then the idea of trying to institute something completely foreign to that app where everybody has been used to Twitter for over, I'm going to say ballpark at 15 years. People know what it's like. People have used it. And it's to this article's point, it is a version of blogging. Really, it's a community blog is what it is. Now, all of a sudden, Musk is going to come up with the brilliant idea of saying, hey, let's introduce banking and financial applications to this failing app. That doesn't make any sense. Unless you have a business plan that will work.
Well, it sounds like John doesn't think he does.
And I don't think he does either, to be honest with you. I would agree with Johnny.
This is where it runs into what we were talking about with the rebranding of the Redskins with the Commanders. Nobody's interested in it. Just look what they did. Like, nobody's interested in the Washington Commanders. Not even the fans in Washington care anymore.
And now,
because they
with Leonard out and Harris in, they're thinking of rebranding that team again.
Washington Sentinels.
Yeah.
Something better than the Commanders might help that, but the reason they're doing that, they have to abandon that because they took a brand that 60s, 70s, 80s in football. It was very, very important. It was offensive. I agree with that. And I understand why they took it away, but it was recognizable. And then they kind of kept the colors and the W and the dumb stuff and the W in the front and all that. Like, they need to get away from that.
As we talked about, they had things in their heritage they could have leaned on, like hogs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They could have used, but they just went totally bizarre.
Even less offensive logos they had in their system. Even with those war spirit, that's perfectly fine. But I mean, the fact that they didn't even do that in and of itself. But again, it just goes back to what I was saying before with the rebranding. You got to know what you're doing. You got to understand your market. And I think collectively, we all kind of agree. Musk, I don't know if he's always marched to the beat of a different drummer.
He has. Well, let me ask you this question. Which do you think is worse? Musk just rebranding kind of on a whim, or Washington football teams having to rebrand out of necessity and getting a think tank together and coming up with the horse crap that they now are?
I vote the Commanders are still the worst rebrand I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would agree.
In the history of commerce, worst rebrand that I've ever seen.
Well, is that, I mean, I assume that takes into account the fact that for 2 years, they just went with football team because they couldn't come up with something.
Yeah.
Which made it even worse. Yeah, which made that even worse.
while we were on break there, I decided that we're going to rebrand Two Noobs Talking. It's just going to be a picture of a giant ass.
Nice. I will get
It'll
that.
work.
I will get that logo out by Monday.
Excellent. Excellent.
Oh, boy.
Excellent. See, that's all it takes is just, 20 seconds of
Stupidity.
uninterrupted stupidity. Thought.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Hold on.
There you go.
Hold on. Let me. All right. I got the logo. We're ready to go.
Nice. Yep. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
It's just that easy. It's
It
just
is.
that easy.
Real simple.
We can throw out the highly successful Two Noobs Talking brand and,
Oh my gosh.
and go with a giant.
But-
What
Jeez.
is happening? What is happening?
Yeah. Sorry, Matt. Topic 3 though. SoFi article. Age verification gets an upgrade. Didn't know we were in need of that, but here we go.
No.
Much to McLovin's dismay, the age-old process of flashing a driver's license to buy alcohol is about to get a high-tech upgrade. Many liquor stores and event venues across America might start using biometric systems to determine a person's age before selling them alcohol. These systems scan your face, palm, finger, retina, butt cheeks to determine your age. From there, they alert the venue, allowing them to more efficiently and effectively determine if you're old enough to buy alcohol or similar products.
Oh boy.
So far, both New York and Washington State have announced new proposals allowing venues to implement this technology, but those venues wouldn't be the first adopters. Biometric age verification tech is already in use at sports stadiums across the country. In some cases, customers even confirm their age and order beverages directly to their seats. Matt, I know you were once carded and I was not going into a rated R movie.
Yeah.
This sounds like it could save you that embarrassment. What say you?
Yeah, exactly. It could save me that embarrassment. No, man. This one for the weird file, this one creeped me out. Johnny, as you know, I do love going to the bar every once in a while to go for an adult beverage. If I find out that CityWorks is going to try and do this, I'm leaving. I'm not even going there anymore. I mean, this is just so utterly bizarre behavior. And the fact that we have to take it out of the bartender's hands and we have to scan you in order to make sure that you're a certain age. Good Lord Almighty. We're in trouble. We're in big time trouble. And I just, when I saw this article, guys, I was just shaking my head and just going like, I don't want this anywhere near, it's like, I get it that and it is right and good that when you go to buy alcohol, you do have to present your physical identification. Driver's license is usually what they need. And it's, okay, boom, done. Not a problem. They just do that to verify the age, basically. This to scan your palm, to scan your retina, no, absolutely not. That's my libertarian streak.
There you go.
In that regard, guys. And that, I think, is all I have to say in that regard.
I mean, my first thought on reading this was a lot of young underage children are going to be getting the Tom Cruise Minority Report eyeball transplants to get 70-year-old eyeballs implanted so that they can get some booze. John, what do you think about this new age technology?
This gives me the vibe of, excuse me, sir, I'm sorry, we can't serve you with this bar because of your tweet last night. Those are the vibes that I'm getting from this article. It's, I'm sorry, you can't purchase. Your bank account is now frozen because you said something about Xi Jinping that he didn't like on whatever book that you write on. Like that's the vibes it's getting. It's too close to home with having to give a venue that kind of, what do they want? Blood next? Like, you got a thumbprint, you got an eye scan, you got you have a driver's license. You give up all your information to the proper authorities to give you a driver's license or an identification. You give up your social security number. You give that stuff up. that is considered in government standard as a standard authorized verification of your age. Why do we need to go any further? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So your concern is that by pulling biometric information, now the bar not only is checking your age, but it is checking your X account.
Yes.
For offensive X's. And,
exactly. But why do you think that X wants to do financial information? It's all together. If you don't think they're trying to,
Steve.
Honestly, if you don't think they're trying to take control, they're not doing a very good job of it. But if you don't think they're trying to take control, you might want to read a little bit.
Well, so this was an interesting question as I was reading this article because I wasn't clear exactly on how this tech works. Let me just quote you here. One of the most popular systems is called My Checker. It says, My Checker works by analyzing an image of your face, comparing it to a database of millions of other images, and determining if you're over the legal age limit.
Oh my gosh.
So if I'm understanding that correctly, it doesn't sound like it's saying it scans your face, it then matches your face to somewhere where your face is registered as what your actual age is.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like, all right, here's your face. I'm comparing it to millions of other faces of people who are over the age of 21.
Yeah.
And through AI, I've determined that you compare favorably to these. You are over the age of 21.
There you go.
Is that how this shit works?
That's how it sounds to me.
It sounds like, and that's a bunch of BS.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hold the database, my checks or whatever your name is. Like, do some work.
That seems unnecessarily complex.
Yes.
First of all.
Agreed.
I just don't get it.
I get the idea of the fake ID, but at the same time, like, your typical bartender is trained to know what a fake ID looks like. So what is the point of having to go through these biometric systems?
And IDs are getting, I mean, I just had my driver's license renewed 2 months ago.
Yep.
This is the most complicated driver's license I think I've ever seen. Like at one, I was even looking at it kind of askew, and I'm like, oh, there's another picture of my face that I can't see when you look at it head on.
Yeah.
It's insane.
You know how much
it is
insane.
You should see the Texas driver's license. It's insane. You couldn't duplicate that thing if you had 8 degrees in doing duplicating IDs. And the back of the Texas license has all the holograms that are on the front of it, but they're in reverse, but they're also sideways. And if you turn it just into the light, it creates a 3D hologram off the side of it. I don't know why they need these, because you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, it is.
The article does go on. These tools offer security and convenience. They are known to get better results for alcohol sellers while letting customers leave their wallets at home. Don't know how they pay for their booze if they leave their wallet.
Through their
especially if they're driving. That might be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, right.
You know? Just saying.
But there are also instances of facial recognition systems being linked to privacy concerns, racial discrimination, and even false accusations. So the dangers remain, gentlemen. Any thoughts on that issue?
I think the racial discrimination is kind of weird. I don't know how that's put in play. I think we were all kind of questioning, in that regard. But yeah, definitely instances of facial recognition systems being linked to privacy concerns. Yeah. Absolutely. False accusations. Absolutely. We've documented this on this podcast with artificial intelligence. It's not exactly the most truthful. When it comes to that, I guess they're still trying to iron that out. I guess,
right?
In that regard,
I guess that answers the question on racial discrimination, because as we've also talked about on the podcast, was it Meta's chatbot that was racist?
Totally racist.
Blunderbot.
So I guess an AI can be racist.
Yeah,
and so you could have that kind of problem.
Yeah.
I don't know, John. Any closing thoughts on this one?
Well, with the underbot, well, Zuckerberg's racist, so wouldn't the underbot be racist? It's just taken after its owner. Yeah, the privacy concerns are my biggest concern with this. I understand where biometrics should be in place. In the bowling industry many years ago, one of the companies put the thumbprint into the register, so everybody who touched the register would have to thumbprint before they get it registered. That's great for a business and counting money because you now know from 12:30 to 1:30, John was in there.
This person.
Yeah, exactly. And it would account on a report. That's where things should stop. Easier access instead of having to type a code when you're in the service industry. A quick thumbprint, boom, you're in. And it's on your order, so you can make those things are fine. Like, I don't have a problem with the biometrics of even door locks or things that personally, like things that you can do. Even cars have thumbprint starts. They're super expensive, but I'm okay with that stuff. You should totally use biometrics that way. But like, I'm gonna go out to eat, and I'm gonna put my thumb in a computer that a server has. It's going to tell her all my information, and then, like I said, it's going to be linked everywhere. So if I'm not a nice citizen on the internet, which I am not already, so that definitely would affect me.
You're gonna spit in your chicken wings, man. Damn.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, this dude, Greg, he likes to stir the pot. Like, we're not going to be nice to him. I don't want that. I have no interest in that.
All right, gentlemen. Now on to topic 4, so we can finally explain why I was dribbling milk all over myself in the intro to today's episode.
Like a baby. Literally.
Baby. Topic 4, why cow milk is better than other milk. Oh, wait, sorry. Wrong article.
Not it. No.
That might be next week. That might be next week.
That might be next week.
Might be next week. That's a follow-up to our why non-diabetics would wear diabetic things.
Yeah, seriously.
Which I still don't understand why that even is.
Yeah. Trust me, Johnny, we were trying to figure that out too. That was just not going to work.
My glucose monitor tells me a Snickers bar has elevated my blood sugar. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I didn't need a glucose monitor to tell me that.
Yeah, exactly.
But somebody needs somebody to tell them something.
Yes.
According to this Today article, roll your eyes, gentlemen. Mom is upset and appalled after a water park told her to stop breastfeeding in Lazy River.
Wow.
Yikes.
A Georgia mom is appalled after water park employees said she couldn't breastfeed in a pool.
Key sentence.
In.
In a pool. Go on.
1 second. I have never in my years of being a breastfeeding mother had one single negative comment made to me about breastfeeding while out in public. But today was a different day. Tiffany Francis, a mother of 2, wrote in a July 14th Facebook post.
Because of course she did.
Of course she did. Francis explained that she had gone to Rigby's Water World, a Kevin Costner an aquatic park in Warner Robins with her 11-month-old son and 4-year-old daughter. Before the son's nap, they entered a lazy river so Francis could nurse while they floated in an inner tube, as she often did at Rigby's. Yikes. According to Francis, a lifeguard approached her and said, "Ma'am, you can't breastfeed in the lazy river." Let's see. Of course, there was nothing stating anything about children, except for that babies need to wear swim diapers, which he was, she wrote. Francis said she asked to speak to a manager who told her, "No food or drinks in the water." I'm just so upset and appalled and wanted to give a heads up to all the other moms out there that this is how breastfeeding moms are treated at Rigby's Water World. Francis cited Georgia law, which allows a mother to breastfeed her baby in any location where the mother and baby are otherwise authorized to be. I'm not sure who I want to go to first on this.
Well, before we're going to be accused of being sexist on this podcast.
Yes, let's make that absolutely clear up front. I don't think any of us has any problem if this woman was just simply breastfeeding a child.
Yes.
Somewhere there.
In 99.9% of the park.
Exactly.
Totally fine.
The problem that we have is that with the first sentence, she couldn't breastfeed in a pool, community pool, mind you.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Lazy river where people are constantly drifting down that pool. Exactly. I know you each had something different you guys wanted to bring up with respect to this article. So I guess, Matt, I'll go to you first.
Yeah. Well, first, I guess a two-pronged approach. One would be why she had to brag about this on Facebook. Why? It's a private thing. Like, what are you doing? Ripping the company over your breastfeeding calamity, with this. This is ridiculous. Sorry to say. Some things you need to keep to yourself and some things you need to keep to the water park. You don't need to talk about your awful experience not being able to breastfeed in a pool. I'm sorry. Like, grow up, honestly. And then two was, the trip, remember I had with the Netherlands guys. I've talked about this on the podcast, right? Where I had a woman sitting right next to me and with a 6-month-old basically, and she had to breastfeed 7 hours overseas, absolutely. Right? There's nothing you could do. What is she? She has a shawl. She pulls herself, basically covers herself, allows for the baby to breastfeed essentially in privacy. That's what we're talking about here more than anything else. No one's taking a look, in other words, in that regard. So
to me, that's not even the issue here. The issue here is on that flight, whether she had a shawl or not, you weren't sharing the same liquids with each other that could be risk of contamination by bodily fluids. John, your initial thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm blown away by it. I'm really blown away by it because sitting on a bench, goes to her car, sits in, an area anywhere, like not on a roller coaster because baby shouldn't be on a roller coaster, but I'm not saying there, but I'm saying anywhere in a amusement park. I would assume that there are a billion places better than floating down the river, breastfeeding a baby. And I don't think anybody really has a problem if you were in all those areas, but just the narcissism of you didn't specifically say in your rules that I couldn't breastfeed in the river. It only said a swim diaper and I did that. That's what made me mad. Like, just a narcissism. Like, you're better than everybody else because you just decided to do it and you have no tact or thought process to other things that are around you, like contaminating water, or maybe there are children all over the place and not every parent wants a 4-year-old boy to go, "What's that, mommy? Why is the booby out, mommy?" Like, they don't want to. There are conservative people out there that don't want to deal with that.
Absolutely.
And that's going to ruin their experience. So to me, it was just a narcissistic response to someone correcting this person. And then it was I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to ruin this park because I'm better than you. And that's what the breastfeeding, I could care less where she breastfed.
Couldn't care less.
I couldn't care less. Sorry, thank you. Appreciate that.
Grammar, gentlemen.
The pool is different. Properly off limits by the lifeguard. He was like, "No, you can't do it there." So you can't do it there.
Yeah. But then they come up with the law. We found out later, obviously, and it was like the Georgia law in there, and then it was like the water park eventually had to apologize to this woman.
Yeah. So Steve Brown is the vice president of operations at Rigby's Waterworld.
Mm-hmm.
He told Today.com that Rigby's revised its breastfeeding policy within hours of the incident, adding that the staff had been re-educated about the law. We had a policy in place that didn't allow breastfeeding in the river that was in line with the health department's standard on no eating or drinking in the pools, he says, adding that breastfeeding in other areas of park has always been permitted. As we said, no problem. Frances was invited to nurse on the pool deck, he says, preferably in the shade on a lounge chair, and added that she was never asked to leave the water park, departing on her own accord. But he says, we were under the impression it was a health code violation. It was a misunderstanding. It was my mistake to misinterpret the law. There are different opinions on this issue, but we want to comply with the law. And the Georgia law you're referring to, Matt, says, I believe that breastfeeding is supposed to be permitted anywhere where the mother and baby are permitted. And I guess they figured because the baby is permitted in the lazy river that breastfeeding can occur there. But I once again come back to the fact that we are all sharing a liquid, people.
Yeah.
Chlorinated or not.
Yes.
That I would rather not have contaminated by others' bodily fluids intentionally.
Yeah.
Now, there are people, I think part of her argument was, there's other bodily fluids in there, people peeing. Well, if you pee in the pool intentionally, you're a douche.
Yeah.
That doesn't make people who pee in the pool right.
Yeah.
But it's a lot harder to tell when somebody's, well, not always, but most of the time, it's harder to tell when somebody's intentionally peeing in a pool versus somebody who is intentionally breastfeeding a child where the potential for spillage and, not just spillage, but I'm sure John has experience having had children. After you feed a child, what can happen immediately?
Vomit.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So you're not only risking leakage while drinking, you are risking that milk coming back up.
Oh, yeah.
From the baby, because that's what babies do.
Yeah.
I would
in the pool.
But this
in the freaking pool, people.
This is a parent I'm mad about. Is you're taking an 11-month-old baby and the lazy river. It's not a lazy river. You're feeding this kid and it's water. Like if I'm feeding a child, I want it to be very calm.
Exactly.
I want it to be because that's the point of feeding a child. You want them to ingest the nutrients that they need so that they are happy. Why do you want to create a burping mess that is unsettling to the baby because he's doing this? Because he can't control his head, and then the water is like.
So, John, what you're saying is everything's in motion.
Yes,
He's right.
Constantly.
He's right.
You don't at home. You don't feed your baby by throwing him in the Ferrari, give him a bottle, and drive 100 miles an hour. That's not how it works. Like, you sit down.
He's right.
I'm going to write this down right now.
Yes, it's calm.
Matt, I don't know the last time you've ever been in a lazy river, but every lazy river I've been in, it flows in one direction. Why does it flow in one direction? Because they have like waterfalls periodically that spill water into it to push it in that direction.
Absolutely.
So you have waterfalls coming down. Yeah. You have, if it was a full water park, you've got kids messing around in the lazy river who are never really going to be bumping into people. I don't know why you would choose a location where kids could be jumping around you.
It doesn't
to
make
be
sense.
Breastfeeding a child. I agree with John. You should be in a calm location. Get up on a lounge chair.
Yeah.
Relax. Take a load off.
Yeah. And if anything, I think too, the privacy, the lack of it for both the son. Really, I mean, that's the thing that I worry about the most. Like, that's a very obviously intimate moment. And it should be, with all due respect to this mother, in a private setting. It really should be. It should not be flaunted in public. And I think that's the big problem that I've got with it. It's like there is just no regard. Well, what the hell? Everything goes then in that regard. And if we go down that road, that's a very slippery slope that we can't come out from. Guys, really? I mean, at the end of the day.
your biggest concern is flashing a boob versus dribble going into the
There are a
pool
lot of
water.
perverts out there, Steve. You know,
Hey,
you know
look,
what I mean?
no, I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, look, I don't have an issue with breastfeeding.
I
You know,
agree.
it's
Yeah.
a necessary thing.
Yeah.
It happens. It's fine.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. There are people out there who are going to observe it in
Yes.
a very unhealthy and
Mhm.
unnecessary and
Yes.
disgusting way.
Yeah.
And so that's absolutely something you should be mindful of when you're out in public like that.
Mhm.
Yes.
But I just keep coming back to
Yeah.
she could have done it like
The
she could have
health-
done it by the railing of the lazy pool, flashing it all out, whatever. I don't give a shit. The
Yes.
minute you are going in the pool where I may be accidentally ingesting water because my son accidentally kicked my head and I swallowed a gulp and your bodily fluids are going to be in there, chlorine or not, that's where I had draw the line.
And Steve doesn't even know her name, so he's mad.
And I have to say, now, you know, it's gone the other way. Rigby's, I'm sorry, I'm never visiting your park if you're going to allow bodily fluids to be intentionally be flaunted around the pool.
Yeah.
It
no
is
doubt.
just to finish on them. That is weird. That is the thing
Yeah.
that scares me is
The reverse course of them. Yeah.
they went right the other way. So that means Rigby, any Karen or Ken or whatever you want to call them that has an issue. What are you going to stop serving hot dogs because a vegan went to your park and doesn't want hot dogs near their food?
They're
It's
offended
contaminated.
because the pig
Yeah, and
died?
what are you going to throw all your hot dogs away? No more hot dogs and burgers. Like, oh,
You can't serve hot dogs anymore because they look like penises.
Exactly. So literally, Rigby's shows me with this one move is it's the no fun zone. They're just going to comply and comply and comply until you can literally go there and they hand you a little stick and all kids run around with a stick. They're like, look at my stick. I get to play with the stick because we can't do anything else because we've taken it all away from them.
I get the impression, I think the Georgia law that was being referred to here was probably passed without thinking that somebody would go to this extreme in breastfeeding their child. I get the intent is you need to be able to provide a space for a mother to nurse a child.
Absolutely.
And so you have to allow it wherever the baby is allowed to go, that has to be allowed. But to me, like the pool, that's the pool.
Yeah.
And the health policy is no food or drink in the pool. Why? Because you don't want fluids in the pool. Contamination.
It's almost it's bad enough that you have to share it with other people. It's
yes.
worse when other foreign objects get in there.
Absolutely. 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 So John, you're absolutely right. Rigby's is their about face here is kind of concerning.
Yeah.
But I won't be going to pee in their pool anytime soon.
I don't even know where they are to pee in their pool. So,
well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Just to reiterate, if you pee in a pool, you are a douche.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and we will report you, just like with Costanza. We will report you like George Costanza. You know?
I would have no problem if I knew somebody peed in a pool. I would have no problem.
No problem with that.
Oh,
pointing them out.
Total
Absolutely.
Shaming. Yeah, total shaming.
Total shaming. Because that's a dick move. It's just a dick move. It's a dick move.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, well, dick moves aside, that brings us to the conclusion of episode 148. I will not be drinking on camera again, at least not this week.
Nope.
Well, wait, hold on a second. Refreshing water.
There you go.
It hasn't been
just been contaminated.
Permitted.
You're not allowed to breastfeed in this.
Duly noted. Are you gonna put a sign up for the fantasy football draft? No breastfeeding in my cup.
I should actually. That's what I'm going to do.
That's a good idea.
That's a very good idea.
You definitely should.
The people I know definitely should, even though there won't be any females present. So doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Just saying, guys. I'll see you guys. See you guys over the internet.
Oh man!
See, that's why he doesn't show up, because he knows what kind of crowd we are. Well, anything.
Love all you.
Anything,
I really do.
Anything pertinent to say before we get the heck out of here and head to Rigby's?
I guess I'll meet you guys there. I guess.
All right then.
I'm going to Tennessee.
Well,
I'll see you guys later.
Well, if you pass any Rigby's on the way, let us know. We'll
I will
hop on
pee in
down.
their pools and then report back.
Awesome. Well, until next week, gentlemen, have a pleasant week, and we'll see you in episode 149 if we're not jailed for peeing in a pool.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to us here at Two Noobs Talking. If you want more of Two Noobs on social media, we're here for you. You can find us by searching Two Noobs Talking on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Clapper. Have a great week, and we look forward to delivering another great episode to you next week. Take care.